What's up guys, how are we doing? My name is Billy Harris. I'm back here today with my client Oriol Vingut, all the way from Spain. He's here today in London with me on like a 3-day consult in which we're going to talk about optimizing his health and his performance to take his business to another level. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Billy Harris and I help high-performing entrepreneurs take their business to another level by mastering their health and performance. And that's exactly what we're talking about today in regards to my work with Oriol as of late. So for those of you, if you ever felt like you're lacking your focus and your productivity because your sleep is so shit on a daily basis and it's holding you from succeeding in your business, for Oriol in particular as an individual that I work with, this is very much the case. Now, Oriol is an individual who runs a business in the e-com space. He's scaling very, very fast at a very, very fast rate. It's quite scary, quite frankly. But from there, he identified the fact that his sleep or his lack of sleep and the efficiency of that was very much holding him back in business. So he has a strategy to take his business from 0 to 7 figures very, very easily. He knows what he needs to do from A to B. But from there, the main thing that was holding him back was actually his focus, his efficiency, his productivity, and his state of flow. So for those of you who don't know, the work that I do with my clients is essentially, I like to look at it like this. So the clients that I work with, I like to think of as being finely tuned robots. So from there, we can always further optimize systems, their capacity, tweak a little bits in little systems, then further improve their performance, productivity, output, flow, and then scale their business to take it to another level. So first and foremost, my friend, what was the main objective of our work together from your perspective, and what was most beneficial in regards to the systems we implemented?
Oh yeah, so my struggle, I was struggling on a daily basis with my concentration and with lack of energy. The energy I was facing, sometimes it was like
peaks and troughs.
And that creates a bad state of mind. You cannot focus properly, so your performance decreases a lot whenever you face that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So from there, in regards to the systems we implemented, and in regards to the 4 things that matter in terms of taking your health and performance to another level, we break it down to 4 very, very simple systems. So first and foremost, your sleep. Secondly, the state of your mind and meditation systems. Thirdly, nutrition protocols, and then from there, finally, training systems. Out of the 4, what was most beneficial for you in regards to implementing that variable, for example, dude?
The first thing noticeable is whenever you increase your quality of sleep, you immediately feel refreshed, your brain is more sharp. I mean, your performance changes a lot whenever you really sleep great. So you increase the quality of your sleep and then everything changes for you. Because we work with the mind, and if the mind is not sharp and you're not recovered from last day, nothing good's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so Oriol and I have now been working together for about 3.5 months or so. Oriol is one of the individuals that I work with closely because he's more towards that 7-figure bracket. So I work with an exclusive group of 10 entrepreneurs: Billy Wilson, Dan Vass, Iman Gadzi, Chris Waller, Oriol in this instance here, for example. And from there, really focus on systems to implement with those guys and the strategy of that as well. So from there, as Oriol correctly identified there, the main thing he was struggling with was a lack of focus, productivity, cognitive function, and it all came as a result of inconsistent sleep timings, systems, and then from their efficiency of that. So one of the first things we did with Oriol in particular as an individual was worked on assessing his sleep metrics. So from there, what I do for my clients is I have in place my biohacking sheets. Now this is Oriol's in particular. As you can see, it's full of numbers, and for those of you guys that aren't aware of the work I do or how to essentially read this, it may look very, very confusing, but it's actually quite simple. So the first 2 variables we have here are sleep start. I'll highlight these. Luca, the guy behind the camera, is filming this very, very well, so praise to him. Sleep start and sleep end time. So one of the first action items we put in place for Oriol was actually his sleep start and his end times in terms of being consistent with that. Now, the way we identify sleep start and end times and how we get these readings is actually by using this piece of kit here, his Oura Ring. So this is my Oura Ring, this is Oriol's right here. And from there, what this does is it uploads every sleep metric from obviously sleep start and end times, duration, etc. onto a dashboard I then configure into my health sheets for my clients and observe for my clients. So one of the first things we did was we assessed the duration that Oriol needed in terms of sleep. And then from there put in place sleep start and end time. So for example, 11 o'clock being a sleep start time, and then from there 7 in the morning being an end time as an example. From there we can then see an increase in regards to duration of sleep, and then from there efficiency will then increase as a product of that. We can then assess variables like his latency, his timing, his awake time, his light sleep time, and then REM and deep sleep. Now, REM and deep sleep are 2 very, very important metrics in regards to focus, energy, willpower, and then from there your cognitive capabilities as well. Those both being different metrics, but in this particular instance, Oriol's REM sleep is looking pretty positive. It's more towards 20 to 25% bracket, so his energy, his focus, his willpower is very, very high, but his deep sleep actually fluctuates a little bit more so. And it's something that Oriol struggled with long term. So For Oriel, we put in place an immediate supplementation protocol.
Oh, yeah.
But as of late, actually on this consult this weekend, we discovered the reason as to why his deep sleep has been very, very poor. So Oriel, if you talk me through your injury before, and we'll talk about the significance of that and why your deep sleep's been hindered by that, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. So 2 years ago, I was riding my bike. I was before the entrepreneurship thing. I was riding bikes. I was racing bikes, and I had a very bad crash. I hit the floor with my head, and my neck got very, very badly injured. And yeah, from there I was starting not feeling good, having headaches, not sleeping. Basically, I couldn't sleep good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't feel rested because I don't know why.
Yeah, he didn't know why beforehand.
If we cannot track using this, you cannot act based on data, so you don't know nothing. Just the perception of myself, it wasn't good. But
yeah. So what we identified recently is that Oriel's injury was actually on his spinal cord. Now, this is really important because the brain utilizes spinal fluid as kind of like a cleaning liquid as such at night, which then allows us to get into a deeper state of sleep, so essentially deep sleep. Mm-hmm. Now, because this has been impaired in regards to Oriel's injury, this was then preventing him from actually obtaining deep sleep in the first place. So what we're now doing to rectify this is assessing his sleep positioning, and from there the use of what's called a wedge pillow to put him in a 45-degree angle, which will then make sure that in regards to any tension on his spinal cord, it's alleviated. Okay. And then from there, in regards to his spinal fluid being utilized to increase deep sleep, it happens very easily. So for those of you guys that don't know what deep sleep and REM sleep is, I shall simply highlight this to you now in a graphic form. I actually put this on one of my clients' health sheets, so he was aware of it too. So, as you can see here, REM sleep is rapid eye movement sleep and plays a central role in re-energizing your mind and body, making it an important contributor to sleep quality. So, associated with dreaming, memory consolidation, learning and creativity. Now, for Oriel as an individual, this has always been very, very high, which is great. It's actually quite a hard metric to obtain if it's not naturally high. Exactly. For Oriel, it's been very high, which is awesome. What his injury was preventing him from obtaining was deep sleep. Now, this is really important because deep sleep is the most restorative and rejuvenating sleep stage, enabling muscle growth and repair as well, which is obviously linked with his injury as well, which is quite interesting. So his injury was preventing him from actually healing himself as well. Really interestingly, also cognitively speaking, he wouldn't be at the level he should have been. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's like an initial assessment of Oriel's sleep metrics. More specifically, what we focused on for Oriel this week was actually one in particular metric called HRV, which is actually indicative of sympathetic nervous system, okay, or the state of that. So to break that down into layman's terms for you guys, essentially what HRV informs us of is how stressed one of our clients is, or how stressed one of our entrepreneurs are, okay, peak performers as I like to call them. So from there, Oriel's metrics, as you can see, are more towards the 20 number. So which looks, for those of you who don't know, that's actually very, very low. Okay, if you're looking for optimal HRV metrics, again, it's sympathetic nervous system and the state of your body in terms of how stressed it is and your mind in terms of how stressed it is, it should be more towards 100. So Oriel is kind of at 25% capacity here. Now, we assessed the variables which contributed to this. Oriel isn't really stressed in regards to work, he has that handled. In regards to duration of work, he has that handled too. We make sure he puts that in place in regards to mitigating how much work he actually does, but is more efficient in that time period. So the one thing that was causing his body loads of stress was actually inflammation from food sources, okay? Which is something most people wouldn't assess being something which causes stress in the body. How do we assess this? Very, very simple. We now use this testing kit called a Biome testing kit, okay? Which assesses the assessment of your gut and your microbiome health, okay? Exactly. Now, Oriel informed me that he has issues with digestion and digestive health. And often at times he feels like any food source he consumes, he feels kind of like bloated, a bit like brain foggy, and he can't really perform in regards to work. So what we're now doing is we're implementing this testing kit called Biome. We're going to send it off to America, and then from there get the assessment back in regards to which food sources cause inflammation for Oriel, and which food sources he can consume without having a sense of brain fog, feeling fatigued, feeling sluggish from consuming food, because that's the last thing we want. And for our clients, what we want to achieve as the end goal is a state of flow. Exactly. So we're looking to remove any variable which prevents that from happening. Most of you guys will have this experience before where you eat a food source or you eat lunch and then you feel sluggish, you feel like your body's inflamed, you kind of have that brain fog feeling. And that's what Oriel experiences a lot when he consumes certain food sources because it's causing inflammation, which is very obvious from this metric here, okay? So we get this testing kit done, remove any food source which causes inflammation. Oriel already incorporates our intermittent fasting protocol, which actually mitigates inflammation anyway, which is great. But from there, we need to further improve this. Yeah, the dude said it himself.
Your mind, whenever you skip the breakfast, no breakfast, it sounds hard, but it is not. Your mind becomes instantly more sharper. It's amazing. I wasn't expecting that, but man,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's life-changing.
Absolutely, and that's another variable we focus on in terms of our service delivery is nutrition systems and intermittent fasting. So all of our clients fast roughly 16 hours per day. And the reason as to why this is to mitigate blood sugar inconsistency. So states of highs, lows, where you're consuming food, it spikes, you then drop, and then your work block's fucked, or ruined rather, I should say, on YouTube, and then it spikes again, and then it drops again. So that's the last thing we want for our clients, and intermittent fasting really prevents that from happening. And obviously Oriel breaks his fast with the food sources, we advise them to do so as well.
Oh yeah.
So what I want to show you guys as well whilst Oriel is here is essentially our objectives for the next, let's say, 4 to 8 weeks, maybe pushing 12 weeks. So in regards to the work we're going to be doing with Oriel, we're focusing on a few simple things. So mainly now that we focused on sleep in terms of assessments, how we can improve that, we're focusing on his environment. So as you can see here, purchasing Q light bulbs. Again, if Lucas zooms out as well, he can see that this light source here isn't actually a great light source. It's more blue light emitting, but I actually can't change the fittings in this environment, which is a shame. But for Oriel, he can. So from there, we're getting Q light bulbs, which emit a lesser degree of blue light. From there, enabling the body to kind of shut down, wind down, and think that we should be going to bed at that point there, which is really important.
Yes.
Next item on the purchase list is a standing desk, which again, I'm actually at present here. I work with this bad boy for roughly 8 hours per day. I work in a standing position for the majority of that time period, and from there, it really heightens your productivity and focus. And I work in my workspace for roughly 15 minutes per work block, and then from there, use the basketball hoop that I have here for 10 minutes whilst playing some music. And Oriel's been toying with it too. Productivity increases as a result of that, which is awesome. Our next objective is improving his deep sleep, which will come with the sleep position we refer to, and his supplementation protocol and his biome feedback as well. So one of the main issues we have with the clients we work with is actually implementation of systems. It's not the lack of information, it's not their lack of understanding, but it's actually a case of translating the information they have presented by us into a system on a daily basis. And we kind of configured actually today and yesterday a way around this in regards to working on this element of things.
And implementing every single thing, because that's going to change.
Absolutely, with due dates as well. So previously speaking, I developed an action document on my clients' health sheets, so they can then fill this in terms of what their day looks like from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock, for example, whether it be their sleep start time and end time, obviously specific to each individual. We can then highlight what to incorporate on a daily basis. So for example, if I just started working with Oriel, saying, okay, dude, wake up here, end your sleep time there, and then from there, what time you should be breaking your fast, etc. Very basic variables, but the work we're doing with Oriel now is a little bit more complex. So what we put in place is actually a Trello card here, or a Trello board rather, which is very specific to this individual we have here. So Oriel, again, being an individual who's looking to take his econ business to the 7-figure bracket, and we're doing everything we can to make sure it happens in regards to focus and productivity. So as you can see here, we have objectives in terms of days and what we want to achieve by that day, and then links for each product as well. So purchase Q light bulbs, we have a link here. Standing desk purchase, I'll be sending through to Oriel. Deep sleep metric improvements, torso positioning, spinal fluid research. Biome testing kit sent off, that's obviously up to Oriel once he gets back to Spain and can actually carry out this test. It's a stool test, for those of you who don't know. So basically, you shit in a pod and then you send it off to America to assess your gut health and microbiome, which, yeah, kind of is what it is. So that's how that works. Obviously, training a full body protocol, so a new training protocol for him. Document highlighting when to take supplements. So from there, in terms of what timings, and he's actually going to stick that on his fridge or in his kitchen, which is really important because obviously we have a fairly vast supplementation list. Nothing too extensive, we like to keep it quite streamlined and minimal, but it's actually present here for those of you that can see us on camera. So Supplementation Guide 101 is what we inform our clients to utilise. We put this in place for each individual depending on where their sleep metrics are at as well. So for Oriel as being an individual, he needs to be really focusing on taking products like, for example, CBD to mitigate his awake time and actually further improve his REM sleep as well. That's something which comes with time, so we focus on that at the latter end of the protocol. And then from there, sleep positioning, looms, etc. So this system here is going to really enable us to focus on implementation of our protocols for each client. And then from there, obviously, once their understanding is at a higher level, they can then really focus on highlighting which things they feel like they need to improve themselves, or what we can then focus on more so for themselves, which is awesome. So yeah, the past few days we spent together have been absolutely awesome in regards to this consult. It's been an absolute pleasure having Oriel come stay with me all the way from Spain. Oriel is, as I said, one of my high performing clients who's within that 7-figure bracket, which is absolutely dope. To be an absolute pleasure to work with this guy, to take his business to the next level, quite frankly. And yeah, dude, I'd just like to ask you, what was the most beneficial variable we've been focusing on, or what do you feel like entrepreneurs in this space should focus on to take their business to the next level? Because we're going to title this video, The One Thing Your Business is Missing. So what do you feel like is the one thing here in terms of the variables we focus on to take your business from 6 figures, high 6 figures, 7 figures to the even next level, next echelon?
Improving the sleep.
Improving sleep.
Definitely. Tracking the data, because you cannot improve based on your perception. tracking the data and have someone, an expert, to read that data and implement a system to improve the quality of your sleep. Yeah,
Absolutely
that's
awesome.
the key thing.
Absolutely awesome.
In my opinion, yeah.
Most important thing there is obviously assessing metrics.
Exactly.
Right, so obviously the use of Aura Ring, for example, and the sleep health sheets we have in place for our clients. And I like to use the analogy, for example, it's like saying you have 100k in your bank account, but if they actually haven't checked your banking app, you have no idea the state of your finances. The same applies to your sleep. You can tell me that your sleep is fairly good as an entrepreneur. You have no idea until you check your metrics.
Just perception.
Just absolute perception.
You cannot improve based on perception.
Absolutely so. Absolutely
you can
so.
only improve based on data. And
Yeah.
have someone that reads the data.
I mean, this is coming from one of my seven-figure clients who, previously speaking, was probably trading time for his sleep more so for excessive work hours, lacking efficiency in that space,
Exactly.
and therefore making less money than he is now, but working way more. That's the last thing we want. The whole process with our clients is to be as time efficient as possible, sleep in terms of duration, make sure we're maximising that aspect of things and maximising our work efficiency and hours to minimise the amount of work but achieve a greater result.
Mm-hmm.
That's our objective, and obviously fine-tune the human performance overall and take the business to the next level. So yeah, dude, absolute pleasure having you here. If you guys like the video today, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be posting my next video this coming Thursday. And thank you to Luca for filming this video behind the camera. If he flips it around to show himself, it's the man himself. Yeah guys, so thank you for tuning in today. It's been a pleasure having Oriel here, and I shall post the next video on this coming Thursday. Awesome guys.